Know what to eat, but find yourself not eating it. Perhaps you've been on diets and off again and just wonder why you can't stick to them. The Eating For You podcast, hosted by me, Sally Ann Pisk, will show you what's been missing so you can enjoy a healthier way of eating that lasts. Hi, Sally Ann here to share a very special episode of the Eating For You podcast for International Day of Peace. This day was established by the United Nations in 1981 and then dedicated to non-violence in 2001. We all have a role in contributing to peace, but today I'm focusing on how our goal for world peace really starts with us. And I'm going to be diving into a daily battle that many women and men have each day, and that is the battle with food. I will share how judgment, guilt, and rigid food rules keep us trapped in an inner battle, and how mindful eating really is the door to freedom, to calm, and self-compassion. I'll be sharing practical insights, client stories, and steps to release the pressure of diets so you can embrace body acceptance and find harmony between your health goals and your daily food choices. This quote from His Holiness the Dalai Lama: "We can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves." So peace very much starts within. And that inner battle with food creates turmoil every day. Women are worried about their eating. They're worried about their body image. They're worried about their health. So this dissatisfaction with food and body keeps us from living peacefully. It keeps us from being a healthier and happier version of ourselves. So what does finding peace with food really mean? It's about letting go of judgment, guilt, and strict food rules. We stop seeing food as good or bad. We remove those labels that are really not that useful. They have caused more harm than good in the over 30 years that I have been practicing as a dietitian. There is no such thing as a good or bad food. They just nourish us in different ways. Of course, I'm never going to suggest that you eat a food when you know that you're intolerant or allergic to it. That's about the only reason why I would not suggest you eat foods. Finding peace with food also means that you give yourself permission to eat without fear or shame. At its heart, finding peace with food is about freedom. Freedom from the struggle of dieting and the constant worry about what you should and shouldn't eat. A big part of finding peace with food, though, is being able to accept your body, to appreciate your body, regardless of its shape and size, but most importantly, to acknowledge the abilities that your body gives you. I can recall vividly the moment a friend of mine told me that her son had been in a car accident and he lost nearly the entire heel of his left foot in this accident. And it sort of coincided with a time in my life where I'd made the tough decision to give up some competitive sporting activities because I was having problems with my Achilles tendon. I had bony formations called spurs on my heels, and that was aggravating my tendons. And I had grieved for this and been quite angry, dissatisfied, loathed, in fact, my heels because I didn't like the way they looked, but they were also impacting on my choices. But as I shared this experience with my friend of her son's accident and the multiple operations that he had to have to reconstruct his foot, I let go of all my concerns about my heels because I was pain-free. I could do really whatever I wanted to do within limits of understanding what my body could tolerate and not strain my Achilles tendon. So when we look at function and ability, we start to see our body very differently. Body acceptance is not about loving your body every day. In fact, it could take years or decades to actually truly appreciate your body when you have been judging it so harshly for many years. But we can move into a way of nourishing our body with food, movement, rest, and compassion. What body acceptance gives us is space to actually start tuning into and listening to our own body's wisdom. Because I say to all of my clients, I'm here with the mindful eating approach to guide you to become the expert in your own body, so you can be also an expert in the food choices that you make. And mindfulness is very powerful in allowing us to do that. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about compassion though, and self-compassion. Body acceptance doesn't mean you'll never have a bad body day, that you'll feel sluggish, that you'll feel heavy, that you just don't feel comfortable in your body. But what it does is allow you to respond with kindness and support you in making choices that are aligned with your goals for health and taking care of yourself. Because that's the other thing that frustrates many of my clients when I first meet them. They'll say to me, Sally Ann, why is it that I look in the mirror, don't like what I see, and then go to the kitchen and empty out the biscuit barrel or the packet of chips or the tub of ice cream? It just doesn't make sense. I really am committed to my health, but my food choices are letting me down. So as we start seeing our bodies differently and appreciating what our bodies can do for us, we tune into those feelings of health and well-being rather than looking in the mirror. Because I want to say, what you see in the mirror is most likely distorted. It's not what other people see. That's because we've created this image of ourselves that is judged critically by us. Yeah, it is a shame that this happens. And I have this saying at the moment to help you understand this more fully, that when you stop battling against your body and instead work with it, you lay down the foundation for a calmer, more balanced relationship with food and yourself. If you're ready to explore this battle that you have with your own body, then you might want to find out more about our Body Image Project. And I created this project so you could understand where your body image has evolved from, but most importantly, how you can start working with your body to appreciate it and take care of it and feel more confident in your day-to-day life with your food choices and everything that you do, because we take our body image into everything that we do. So I've left a link there to find out more about the Body Image Project. And of course, you can also email me as well. But I want to talk now about the practical outcomes or the practical benefits of what having peace with food brings you. You'll feel calm and confident around food. No more swinging between restriction and overeating. Food simply becomes a part of your life than a constant battle. You'll enjoy meals without guilt. You'll savour the foods for their aromas, their colours, their textures, their flavours, knowing that all the foods that you are choosing sit comfortably within your overall way of eating, and most importantly, make you feel well. You'll reconnect with your body's signals, and these are really important because you'll get to trust your hunger, satiety, and fullness cues. And this is what guides us to know when to eat, how much to eat, and what foods will make us feel well and happy. You'll free up mental space and gain so much more energy because you'll spend less energy worrying about food rules and you have more time to spend on what brings you joy and fulfillment. You'll reduce stress and anxiety around eating because you'll let go of that mental load that comes with second guessing every food decision. Because with practice, each little mindful choice that you make shows you that you can do it and you can sustain it. You'll relax in social settings and you'll be able to share meals with friends and family without the burden of diet rules hanging over you. And some ladies have even said to me when we first started working together, Sally-Anne, I actually avoid all social occasions, or I eat before I go so I don't have to worry about food. With the practice of mindful eating, you can feel comfortable in any setting, any time of the year. Even be able to say no to the most persuasive giver of food that you know in your family or your social circle. But like I was saying before, most importantly, you'll feel satisfied after eating because you'll be honouring your natural preferences for food, and that will give you a deeper sense of contentment. You'll possibly enjoy more variety and flexibility because you'll become curious about food and try different foods. You'll do this with ease rather than worry. And it's all about building a nourishing and balanced way of eating for you. Yes, eating for you is what it is all about. But the relief really comes from stepping off the dieting roller coaster because you'll develop a sustainable, mindful eating practice that supports your health and well-being for the long term. No more stop-starts, no more yes, no. It will be just mindful choices, moment by moment, day by day, week by week, and ongoing. You'll deepen your connection with your body, and this is really important for building trust and building that alignment between what you want, what your body needs, and making choices around food to support those. You'll inspire those around you. You'll become a role model for family and friends. And this is often a strong goal or motivator for women that I work with because they know that they have passed on some of their bad eating habits to their children. And they now want to show that there is a way of having a positive and compassionate relationship with food, with all of that love-hate stuff that goes on with our food choices. So that is possible. Just be an example of eating mindfully and demonstrating that peace with food. And you'll enhance your overall well-being. That peaceful approach that you have to eating will flow into every part of your life. So that supports our health, our energy levels, and most importantly, our happiness. Some more wise words from His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. Only the development of compassion and understanding for others can bring us the tranquility and happiness we all seek. So mindful eating is very much about non-judgment and self-compassion. So in order for us to have compassion for others, we have to have compassion for ourselves. And that's being non-judgmental around our choices, choosing simple things every day to support our self-care and build resilience, not just for our eating habits, but for everything that happens in our lives. And for Bev, who shared with us in episode 86, it was releasing that self-blame. If she made a choice that wasn't as mindful in hindsight, then she didn't blame herself. She acknowledged it and then focused on getting back to eating and living mindfully. Anne, who shared with us in episode 9, talked about learning to enjoy food again. But more recently, Anne emailed me and shared that learning self-compassion was the most valuable thing that she learnt from the Eating For You programs. Because self-compassion around eating again ripples into other areas of our life. We become less harsh on ourselves, less judgmental, and we have a kind and supportive voice in our mind rather than one that's always putting us down. And last week in episode 144, Janice shared how the non-judgmental approach was key to her making changes to her eating habits, changes that she's battled with for decades. So self-compassion does mean that we accept that we won't always make the best choice or the most mindful choice, but it's just all part of the journey. If you're listening along and saying, yes, mindful eating sounds great, or I've tried it before, and yes, I'm committed to my health, but nothing works. I just don't know if I can eat healthy or be healthy. I'm hoping these words from Mahatma Gandhi will inspire you. Happiness is when you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. So what I want to explore here is that there's often a gap between knowing and doing. And when I first meet women, they'll be quite frustrated. They'll say, Sally Ann, I'm really committed to my health. I really want to get on top of these perimenopausal symptoms. I want to improve my blood sugar levels. I want to reduce my risk of heart disease. I know it's in the family. But why is it that I can't support my health goals with my food choices? And often this occurs because we're so used to following rigid rules that have let us down in the past. So mindfulness allows us to look at our beliefs around food, our actual eating habits, and making sure that the goals we're setting for ourselves are the right ones and achievable. So mindfulness helps us align our health goals with nourishing choices. When I first met Kathy, a retired healthcare practitioner, she had really tried everything to improve the management of her type 2 diabetes, but she could not give up sweet foods. In fact, she had packets of lollies and chocolates hidden around her house because she knew if she tried to remove those foods from the house, the cravings would intensify and she would just go out and buy them anyway. So Kathy was in this dilemma. She was trying to take care of her diabetes, but she was eating all of these sweet foods. So Kathy joined our foundation's mindful eating program, which gave her the steps to start introducing mindfulness and mindful eating. We talk specifically around her diabetes and the importance of her having permission to eat these sweet foods. We looked at her blood sugar levels and the best time for her to have sweet foods so she would feel that she could still eat these foods mindfully without impacting on her health. Within a handful of weeks, Kathy's desire to eat sweet foods had really dropped. She was eating chocolate about twice a week rather than eating sweet foods several times a day. And this came with a new appreciation for health, a new appreciation for eating, and also that understanding that healthy eating isn't all or nothing. If you're committed to your health and are also frustrated that you haven't got there yet, please don't give up. It just means what you have tried so far hasn't worked, but there will be a way that works for you. And Mahatma Gandhi says this about health, and this is why I don't want you to let go of your health goals. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver. So I'm encouraging you to keep your health goals because they are important. Some more inspiration, this time from Nelson Mandela. Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. I so related these words to what women tell me about trying to set up a healthier way of eating. So whilst we may try things that don't work, the important thing here is, though, that we don't keep repeating things that don't work. So if diets don't work for you, don't go back on a diet. If you've been on and off weight loss medications, then perhaps weight loss medications are not the right approach for you. Or if they are, then some support around food choices and mindful eating might be of benefit. So each attempt that you have had with your eating has taught you something. You have learnt something about what works and what doesn't work for you. So it's about building a way of eating that you can sustain and taking that knowledge of everything that you have done so far with you, extracting, of course, the things that work and letting go of the things that don't, to help you start viewing your relationship with food and having the ability to set up a healthier way of eating that lasts. I'm going to share some reflective questions from each of the 3 Eating for You pillars. The first Eating for You pillar is knowing yourself, your motivations, your triggers, and your values. And I have 3 reflective questions, and I'm wanting you to repeat these words to yourself. How would I love to feel in my body? Do I eat because of physical hunger or other reasons? How would making peace with food make me happier and healthier? The second pillar is knowing your food and what nourishes you. The first question for this one is, am I eating on autopilot or perhaps following rules that don't actually work for me? Do I have a good understanding of what healthier eating is for me? Do I know which foods and non-food activities truly nourish me? And the third pillar, which is a very important pillar, they all are, but this one is often where we get stuck. How to introduce and live with change. And again, 3 reflective questions. How many things have I tried to do to change the way I eat? What did I find out from each of these attempts? And most importantly, ask yourself this: am I ready for a way of eating that lasts? And some more inspiration from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. Thanks for tuning in to our episode today. We've talked about what making peace with food can bring us in our lives, the importance of body acceptance and changing our focus to self-care and self-compassion, understanding that a mindful eating journey is just that. It is a journey. It's a gentle way of uncovering, discovering, and transforming our relationship with food for good. And if you're ready to have a more peaceful relationship with food and your body, then consider joining me in a free 30-minute mindful eating strategy call. I offer these calls for free because I understand the battles you've had with food and your body, and I want to make sure that I'm the best person to help you. And if I'm not, I will actually refer you on to someone else. But this call is really just about talking about your food challenges and your goals. And if I can help you, I'll outline your personal strategy. Thanks again for listening. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it on your social media pages and leave us a comment about what you found of value. And my last request, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, do so now so you don't miss our future episodes. I look forward to sharing with you again next week. You have been listening to the Eating For You podcast with Sally Ann Pisk. If you are looking for additional support to enjoy a lifelong way of healthier eating, then join me in a free 30-minute call to see if our approach is right for you. I have included the link to book an obligation-free call in this episode's notes.